Well, veteran Zimbabwean opposition leader Nelson Chamisa has made a return to active politics. It's after stepping aside as the Citizens Coalition for Change's leader in 2023. That was due to internal party disputes and other issues. He joins us now to talk more about this. Good to have you on SABC News this evening, sir. Thank you for your time. So the announcement that you made over the weekend that you were coming back to active politics has been met with mixed reaction. One of the questions raised is this: what do you bring currently to the political arena in Zimbabwe that no other political candidate actually has to offer?
Well, thank you very much for that kindness. First of all, let me clarify and correct you that I'm coming back. I'm not coming back. I'm stepping back. There's a difference there. Stepping back because I had stepped aside on account of a number of developments which are common cause. And my reason for being in this is because there is a citizen's call, there's a citizen duty, and there's a patriotic duty that I have to undertake to lead and guide and provide my own time, effort to the effort to liberate, change, and transform Zimbabwe.
You were unable to achieve those very objectives to bring about better fortunes for Zimbabweans for the better part of the last decade and a half. What makes you think stepping back, as you say, into the arena in 2026 is going to be any different?
It's a fight. A revolution has no timetable. A struggle is not like a picnic. It's a real struggle. It's effort, it's hard work, it's commitment, it's sacrifice. And that's what we're giving to this effort. And we've no doubt that the people of Zimbabwe know what they want. They've won in the past, they will win again. And when they win, they have a duty to defend that win. So as far as we are concerned, we know that we are on the upward trajectory. Success and victory is guaranteed. We need just to mobilize, organize, and to make sure that as citizens, we are together, united, focused, and understanding that fighting a dictatorship is not an overnight job. It's not a walk in the park. It's not instant coffee. You have to expect challenges, hardships, and that is what we've gone through, hardship and sacrifice.
But you've long described the governing ZANU-PF as presiding over a dictatorship from when the now late President Mugabe was still in power. Emerson Mnangagwa has now been in place for almost a decade, and you've said the same thing about him through other elections. What I'm trying to figure out is what has changed in the conditions that makes you so confident that this time round, as the opposition, you're going to get right what the MDC and the Citizens Coalition for Change were unable to achieve?
Of course, once bitten, twice shy. We've learned our lessons, we've learned from mistakes, and because we've learned, definitely we have to perfect our act and our dance. The next time you'll see, as we are going to show on the ground, that we have to fight and overcome this dictatorship. The fact that we have had challenges doesn't necessarily mean that we must give up. We must continue to fight. That is how struggles are won. That is how revolutions are undertaken across the world. Transformation is our mantra. Transformation is our task. It's a generational mandate. And we are there because we have to execute it. And we will win as we've won before. All we need to do is to safeguard and guarantee our victory.
How then are you going to work around or avoid the divisions in the opposition in Zimbabwe of the past? Because it's one thing to accuse, for example, the ruling ZANU-PF of stealing elections, etc., but the opposition in Zimbabwe has also been unable to keep it together. We saw the Triple C, which came after drama that emerged from the MDC, and even at the Triple C, we then saw the infighting that ultimately led to what we can call, shall we say, your break from active politics. How are you going to hold things together this time round?
Well, the opposition in Zimbabwe is not the problem. The people of Zimbabwe are united for change. They are united for democracy. They are united for transformation. So the issue and the crisis is not in the opposition. The crisis is in a dictatorship we have that is trying to divide the citizens, to divide even people in the opposition. But the people on the ground, the base is solid. And that is not our problem. That is not our issue. If you look
But
at the
that's not
vote
quite my
itself,
question, Mr. Chamisa. The people, you've long said the people are united. The point I'm making is that the opposition has repeatedly splintered, and breaking it up multiple times has clearly not worked. in the opposition's favour. And I'm asking you how you're going to make sure that this fresh start that you are talking about does not go through the breakages that the MDC and the Triple C experienced, because you are present in both those two opposition vehicles.
And that's what I was trying to correct you on. Exfoliation is not division. It's peeling off. It's renewal. It's important. And that is not a problem. The multiplicity of opposition, the multiplicity of different organizations within the alternative is a good thing. It gives people a menu of choice. So I told you that the citizens are united. They know what they want. They know their leaders. So the issue of differences in opinion or leaders multiplying or a multiplicity of leaders is not an issue. The issue is we have a dictatorship that is bent on dividing the people, hijacking the people, capturing state institutions, and undermining the absence of the rule of law to make sure that their opposition is actually undermined. But we are going to overcome that.
You say the citizens know what they want. Are you what Zimbabweans want right now?
Look, that's why I'm availing myself. If I'm chosen, I'm ready. But the Zimbabweans are out there. They will choose their leader. In the past, they've chosen us. And that's why we have issues with the ruling party, because they know that we are the alternative. We are the choice. We are chalk and cheese. We are almost like light and darkness. And we represent that light. We represent that positive future for Zimbabwe. And we are proud of that. And we thank Zimbabweans for resilience. We thank Zimbabweans for continuing to be united to support the ultimate agenda for change.
And you say this new agenda is not about personalities. I wonder to what extent you might be concerned that your personality, for good or bad, might influence the fortunes of this new vehicle that you are now going to lead. And how are you going to go about that process in this 180-day window that you said is going to be about legal and institutional fortification and building of grassroots resilience and consciousness? And what does that mean in reality?
Thank you. Of course, we need to make sure that we are structured. We need to make sure that we have systems and institutions so that we have a big institution, big ideas and not big men, strong institutions and not strong men. We don't want to be escalating the deification of personalities. What we want to see is the celebration of ideas, thought, and alternatives. And that is what we are putting on the table. A fresh start is an indication of our gesture to say we want things to be done differently. And I'm glad that already on the ground, people are energized, the base is energized, the structures are organized, and we are going to provide that alternative. Personalities should not come in the way. Yes, all revolutionary forces have faces to lead, but we should not celebrate individuals, but celebrate the collective forces.
Will you accept anything other than outright victory in the next election? Would it be a credible result if it says you haven't won?
Credibility is not a function of our victory. It is a function of the process. It is a function of the outcome. Does it reflect the will of the people? Does it pass the test, or does it pass the constitutional test within the country, but also within the region? You are aware that elections in Zimbabwe have been a vicious circle of disputes. It has been a vicious circle of rigged and manipulated elections, even on account of SADC, the AU, and the world over. All electoral observer mission reports, they've concluded that elections in Zimbabwe are a disaster. And that is what we must correct. That's why we have written to SADC to say, help us, help ourselves. You are the aunt of the region. You are the umpire of the region. Help us to correct these issues. To our sister parties, ANC and other parties progressive in South Africa and in the region, help us help ourselves. We're a burden to South Africa because there is no support to the efforts to make sure that we correct and fix Zimbabwe. Zim must be fixed, and it requires all of us within the region to make sure that we correct the situation.
Zimbabwean opposition leader Nelson Chamisa, good to have you on the SABC News channel tonight, sir. Thank you.